completion decree, naturally the relation will be the same, and he or she will be entitled to succeed the property of the other. Okay, sir. Any more? Sir, what is the formal procedure of separation by agreement? देखिए फॉर्मल प्रोसीजर मैंने एग्रीमेंट पर बताया था आपको. I have taken, I have put that agreement either pre-marriage agreement or post-marriage agreement. Are you getting this? I have explained it. Yes, sir. What is your question then? सर मेरे कहने से क्या ओरल होना चाहिए, रिटन होना चाहिए, क्या? अच्छा, फॉर्मेलिटी, so far as the formality is concerned, no doubt. The formality that it should be written one. Right now, it is required that agreement should be formally made. Oral agreement is what? This is not Muslim law. The oral talaq is sufficient. Under Hindu law, documentation is very essential. Okay. Second question, sir, the physical separation और Hindu Maintenance and Adoption Act में section 18 का clause के अंदर वो separation होता है, उसमें difference क्या है? भाई देखिए, judicial separation में parties are free. They may live together, they not live together. And 18(2) is only providing the maintenance to the wife. So wife is made entitled to get the maintenance even after the fact that she is living separately. But here actually under the 18(2), the circumstances are enumerated. There are 6 circumstances and wife has been permitted to live separately. But in judicial separation, even though those circumstances do not exist, even though wife may live separately and also claim the maintenance. Getting answer? Hello? Yes, sir. Yes. 18(2) circumstances are enumerated. Only in those circumstances she may live separately and claim maintenance. And so far in the judicial separation, there is no any circumstance which is mentioned. That means she is entitled for maintenance even though the circumstances which enumerated in 18(2), these do not exist. Any more session? So you are every time saying that in judicial separation it depends on it will depend upon the parties that they want to live together or not. But sir, it is also true that for judicial separation a particular decree has been passed by the court, and if this is the case that it depends upon now the parties that they want to live together, then what is the use of the decree? Because for decree I have to not to force the particular other partner to cohabitate with the other partner. It is clear. But sir, is it possible that the other partner, even after having a decree of judicial separation, may live with the previous partner? I mean that the other partner. So far as the liberty is concerned, I am just pronouncing the word liberty. Now the parties are at liberty. They may live together, may not live together. There is no compulsion. Neither party compels the other parties that she or he should live with the company of the other. Their institution of conjugal right, there is very difference for the institution of conjugal right that the judicial separation decree has already been passed. So this decree has been passed, then party may take the difference. And the institution of conjugal right decree cannot be produced. Any more question? Now today I am going to discuss another very important topic, and here gay relationship and that is the lesbian relationship, where it is valid under the law or not, particularly in the eye of the Hindu law. So far in the Supreme Court decision, I am knowing that here this relationship is declared valid. But we have to analyze from the eye of the Hindu law also. So now today, I just, as I have pointed out in last lecture, we shall discuss wide and wideable marriage.
Why marriage we have already discussed yesterday. One part I just put before you that under section 11, who can file the suit for declaring the void marriage? Who can file? Only the aggrieved party. If you go through the section 11, what is written? It is written that a marriage shall be on a petition presented by either of the parties thereto against the other. Either of the party means either of the party means only husband or wife, they can file. It means suppose the husband has solemnized the second marriage, whether the first wife is entitled to file the suit or declaring the second marriage as the wife. Answer is no. Why? Because here section 11 technically it is being made. Either party to the marriage can only file the suit. And the marriage was being solemnized between the husband and the second wife. First wife has not been the party in that marriage. Therefore, under section 11, she cannot file. Are you getting this?
Sir, but the second marriage won't be valid. Won't be valid.
Despite that, what is the provision of the section 11? Either of the parties to the marriage. Either of the parties, first wife is not party of that marriage. Second wife is the party of that marriage. Are you getting my point or not?
Now my question is that marriage is not a marriage only, no? Because it is being done after the previous marriage and it becomes a bigamy. Then certainly it is not a marriage.
Certainly it is not marriage. But it is marriage in the eye of law because this is void marriage. Why you are giving the name of void marriage? Why the word marriage is being there? Directly you are not saying that this is the void. So marriage is there, no doubt. Second marriage is there. Without that proving bigamy, you cannot punish the accused person. Are you getting? Now I am putting here that even though under Hindu law, the first wife is not entitled to file the suit for declaring that second marriage is void. But if you read section 9 along with the section 9 CPC along with the section 8 of the specific relief act, section 34, not 38, 34 of the specific relief act. Now here, under the specific relief act, section 34, any person can challenge the status of the two persons. And by that way, the first wife may challenge the second marriage and the status of the second wife and get the decree. Getting my point or not? So here, under section 11, it is not possible for the first wife to file the suit and declare the second marriage as a wife. But under the provision, the specific relief act, section 34, when it is read with section 9 of the CPC, then it is very clear that the first wife may also file the suit under the specific relief act to challenge the status of the second wife. And by that way, she can get the decree and declare the second marriage as a void nullity. Now, another question is also being here, whether the first wife, suppose she came to know that the husband is going to marry with the second wife, whether she can go to the court of law for injunction. Here again the provision of the specific relief act. This is section 38, where it has been pointed out that here the first wife, when he came to know, he may file the suit. So this is the technicality. Please always keep in your mind. But Hindu law is not playing major role in this case. We have to take a perpetual injunction. Injunction, there are so many kinds of injunction. Temporary injunction is not here sufficient. But injunction is being granted. Why? Husband should not be allowed to marry with the second wife, not only with that, with this other women also. This is called as perpetual injunction. Now I am coming on the section 12.
सर
uh,
ये वाली बात मुझे समझ में नहीं, फिर से एक बार बताइए ना।
क्या चीज नहीं समझ में आया आपको? मैं बड़ी सीधी सी बात कह रहा हूँ कि सेक्शन 11 जो हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट का है, उसमें जो है पहली वाइफ अगर है तो वो दूसरी मैरिज जो है, दूसरे औरत से अगर पति ने मैरिज किया है तो उसे चैलेंज नहीं कर सकते। लेकिन स्पेसिफिक रिलीफ एक्ट की धारा 34 के अंतर्गत पहली बीवी दूसरे बीवी की स्टेटस को चैलेंज कर सकती है और डिग्री ऑफ नलिटी सेकेंड मैरिज के लिए ले सकती है। क्लियर? कौन पूछ रहा था?
यस सर, क्लियर।
यही मैं बता रहा था। दिस इज टेक्निकल प्रोविजन, आप अपने दिमाग में रखे रहिए। कल को ऐसा ना हो कि आपके पास मुकदमा आ जाए और आप जो है हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट का मुकदमा दायर कर दीजिए, तुरंत डिस्मिस हो जाएगा। स्पेसिफिक रिलीफ एक्ट का आपको सहारा लेना पड़ेगा। आगे बढ़े। नाउ सेक्शन 12 of the Hindu Marriage Act, and under section 12 of the Hindu Marriage Act, the grounds are being given. This is the category which is being provided. This category is being called as viable marriage. Any marriage, whether solemnized before or after the commencement of this act, shall be viable and may be annulled by a decree of nullity on any of the following grounds. So here the provisions are very clear. Under this ground, the marriage has been categorized as a viable marriage. And any party to the marriage, that is also very technical, go through, and may be annulled by the decree of nullity on any of the following. The first is marriage has not been consummated due to impotency of the either of the parties. This is the first one. Marriage has not been consummated due to impotency of either of the parties. The second one, when there is a violation of the condition which is enumerated in section 5 and section 2. The third one, when the consent of either of the parties to the marriage, or when the consent of the guardian has been obtained. Guardian in the case if the marriage solemnized for this Marriage Restraint Act 1976, where the consent of the guardian required because age of the marriage before 1976 was 15 and 18. Are you getting? So if the consent of the parties or the consent of the guardian, where the guardian consent is required for the marriage, has been obtained by force or fraud. And the fourth, last ground, when at the time of the marriage, if the wife was pregnant by any other person. So these are the four grounds which are given for viable marriage. The first one, if either party is impotent. The second one, when the valid consent is not given by the party. The third one, when the consent of the parties or the guardian has been obtained by force or the fraud. And the fourth one, that if the wife was pregnant at the time of marriage by another person. May I proceed further? Now here, I want to discuss the first part. And the first part is that marriage has not been consummated due to the impotency of either of the parties. Consummation means, here very clearly it is written that consummation means if there is no sexual intercourse between the parties. Why sexual intercourse has not taken place? The reason was that either of the party was impotent, either husband or the wife. And due to that, the sexual intercourse has not taken place in the marriage. Actually, this provision is amended, been here in 1976. 1976, the wording was different. What was written in the first ground, that party, either of the party was impotent at the time of the marriage, and that impotency continues till filing of the petition. So earlier the wording was different. Earlier the wording was that either party was impotent at the time of marriage and impotency continued up to the filing of the suit, then only this was a crime. But right now, after amendment of 1976, here the provision is very clear. The provision is telling that marriage has not been consummated. It is not essential to prove that at the time of the marriage also the party was impotent. No. Here condition is very plain and simple. Marriage has not been consummated. Sexual intercourse has not taken place between parties. Why? The reason behind this is that one of the party is impotent. Now one thing, okay, this is the ground of the viable marriage. Viable means if the party has to proceed, if the party does not proceed in court of law, the marriage shall be considered as valid, as good as other marriage. As valid, as good as other marriage. Okay? So now we have borrowed actually this wording to at the wording which at present time we have from the Matrimonial Causes Act 1973. This Matrimonial Causes Act 1973, it is prevalent in the English legal system. And here in the English legal system, it pointed out that marriage has not been consummated. The same wording we have also borrowed. Now, impotency means what? Here actually the terminology which is being used in this relation is Vira Kapula. Vira Kapula means the party should be so that they may be able to consummate the marriage, sexual intercourse may be done. It is very important, Vira Kapula. If it cannot be performed due to impotency of the male or the female, male means husband or the female means wife. Male means here the thing has been explained that male means proper erection should be there and penetration should be there. And female means that organs should be competent to have the intercourse. Here the word which is used that full penetration is required. But satisfaction, sexual satisfaction, it is not important in this line. The concept is very clear. What is desirous under the law? That after the marriage, the party should have the capacity to make sexual intercourse, both male and female. If they have a competency, marriage is valid. If they have no competency, then marriage has been categorized as a viable marriage. And here, so far as the male organ is concerned, it has the capacity of the erection and also have the capacity of penetration. If this is so, then it is final and it is complete. Here, sexual satisfaction is not very important. It may be possible that one party may have a oversex, another party has not so many. So far as sexual satisfaction is concerned, it is not a ground, only impotency. And by that impotency, if the sexual intercourse could not take place. Now, we are living in patriarchal society. Why I am telling this patriarchal society? Because the cases which we have here, the cases is actually related with the woman's incapacity to have a sexual intercourse. Why? Because patriarchal society. If the husband impotent, then I have no any case to explain, particularly in Hindu law, where the wife has challenged the marriage. But when the wife suffering from any disability, naturally the marriage has been challenged. Living in the patriarchal society, and since we are living in the patriarchal society, therefore the cases which we have in our hand, the cases which we have in our hand, these cases are actually where the petition has been filed by the husband for declaring the marriage as a nullity because the wife cannot bear so much. Now it is very easy for husband to get the decree of nullity and get second marriage solemnized. But vice versa is not possible. Suppose any wife came out and filed the suit that husband was impotent, then naturally after the divorce, who will marry with that female? So that's why the cases which we have in our hands, the cases are actually highlighting the inability or disability in the organ of the female. One by one, I am putting the case. Here the cases which I want to put, M versus yes. Actually, the name of the parties has been concealed. Therefore, the first letter of the name it has been used, M versus yes. This is actually the decision of the Kerala High Court and the decision of 1963. The second decision, also in the same line, Ganeshi versus Hastuban. This is decision of the Gujarat High Court, 1967. I am repeating again, M versus yes. This is Kerala High Court decision. And second one, Ganesh versus Hastuban. This is the second case. Here, actually, the female organ was being actually challenged. There was a malformation on the female organ, and due to that, it was not possible to have a normal sexual intercourse. It means the female organ was defective. It was challenged. But what happened in both the cases? After surgical operation, the female organ was converted into normal organ and sexual intercourse could be possible. Here the court has pointed out that wife was not impotent. Why? The reason is very clear. Because after surgical operation, after treatment, the female organ can be made in such a way that normal sexual intercourse is possible. Therefore, in these cases, the court's approach is very simple. If any defect which can be removed by the operation or treatment and the parties become the normal means where sexual intercourse is possible, then this party cannot be called as impotent. Now the second case, it is also another line of case. It is also the case where the female organ again been questioned. The name of the case is Lakshmi versus Babulal. The decision of Rajasthan High Court 1974. I am repeating again the name of the case, Lakshmi versus Babulal. Here actually the wife, it has no female organ. Later on by surgical operation, the female organ was being constructed and the size of the female organ was 2.5 inches. In this case, the court was very strict. Court pointed out that since she had no female organ and female organ was being constructed later on by surgical operation, therefore here the marriage has been declared as a nullity. So this is the another line of the approach which is being taken. In the same line, another case we have, and the name of the case is Rajinder versus Santi, and this case is actually from the Punjab and Haryana High Court. Here, again the same question was being laid down. Here, after surgical operation, the female organ of the wife was being constructed 1.5 inch. And here the decision of the court was very plain and simple. Court has again reiterated on the line of the previous cases that after the surgical operation, if the female organ may be converted into normal organ and sexual intercourse may be taken place, then this is the party which will be categorized as a normal party. Party is not important. So this is line of the cases I am putting before you. And here again I want to put another case which is in the form of the exception. Why it is exception? Because actually here the male organ was being challenged. The name of the case is Surinder Singh versus Nirmaljeet Kaur. Decision is of 2000. Here actually husband was suffering with the secondary sex and was operated. Land was operated. Land was operated. Here in this case, wife was also found virgin and husband did not able to consummate the marriage. Therefore, in this case, the court has pointed out that husband was impotent. And on that ground, here, the marriage has been declared as a nullity. So these are the line of cases which I am putting. One more case I want to put. This is a case which is actually on the presumption, certain presumption. Certain presumption means, suppose the marriage has not been consummated, husband and wife both are living 3 days, 3 nights together. What is the presumption? Here under this, the court formed the presumption that it is actually due to the impotency of the husband. Why? Because husband and wife both were living 3 nights in the same room and husband was not able to consummate the marriage. Here the approach of the court which is taken, that the court has taken the approach that here presumption is laid down that if the husband would be competent to make a sexual intercourse, naturally the marriage could be consummated. Therefore, in this case, it has been declared that the husband was impotent. The name of the case is Jagdish versus Sila. And Jagdish versus Shyamam, not Sila. Jagdish versus Sila. Jagdish versus Sila. This is the case of Punjab High Court. So here, this is one line of the cases. Another thing, one more important case, and this is also in the same line. Suppose the marriage could not be consummated where the wife refused for sexual intercourse. So actually, if the marriage has not been consummated, and what is the reason? The reason was that the wife was not allowing that marriage should be consummated. Why? Because her argument was that she was being compelled for the marriage. So here, this is the normal case, and husband has not been declared as a impotent. So this is one of the cases I am putting before you. One thing, what inference you may draw? You may draw the inference that here, in one line, if either party is impotent, and due to that impotence, if the marriage has not been consummated, then naturally, this may be a ground for voidable marriage. If the parties proceed for filing the petition, the marriage will be void. Any problem?
No, sir. Sir, sir, you said that gay marriages and lesbian marriages are.
I am coming on that one. I have the case. I will discuss later on. Now, fairness and sterility. Barrenness and sterility means what? If either husband or the wife is barren, sterile, and marriage has not been consummated due to that, whether barrenness and sterility can also be covered under the category of impotency or not. Suppose the wife is barren, she is not able to procreate the children. Whether we can say the wife is impotent? Here, the case I am putting before you, the case is yes versus yes. Here, the wife was suffering from non-menstruation. She was not menstruated. She had no uterus. She not be conceived. She was also not having the female organs properly developed. But after plastic surgery, the passage of the organ may extended. Here it has been pointed out that wife was not impotent. So sterility is different. Barrenness is different. Sterility is different thing and barrenness is different. Impotency is different. So if any party is suffering from the barrenness or the sterility, suppose she or he is not able to procreate the son, no, this is not being impotence. Party cannot be called as impotent. In yes versus yes, the same fact came. This is actually the English decision because in India we cannot have this decision. Yet a wife was not menstruated. She had also no uterus. Female organ was also not fully developed. Later on, the female organ was being surgically operated and it was being developed. So here, the approach of the court was very clear. The court pointed out that the party was not impotent, even though the party was sterile, not able to procreate. Now, Indian case I want to put before you. The name of case is the Govinda versus Nagmani. This is Andhra Pradesh High Court decision 1962. And here, the meaning of the potency is given in different way. Okay, this is very remarkable case. Because here actually impotency has not been defined. Here potency has been defined. Different. Wording is not here a potency wording which is used under the section 12. This wording is impotency, not potency. But in this case, potency of the parties has been defined. Govinda versus Nagmani. This is decision of the Andhra Pradesh High Court. Year is 1962. What has been pointed out in this case? In this case, it has been pointed out that potency means what? Potency means in the male case, the potency means power of erection of male organ plus discharge of healthy semen containing living spermatozoa. So this is the actually qualification which is being given for potency. Potency, particularly in the male, how it has been explained, there must be the quality of the erection plus discharge of healthy semen containing living spermatozoa. Then the party shall be treated as a potent. And in the case of the female, a definition is given for potency. What definition is given? Yes, the definition of the potency is given in this case that menstruation. If the female is menstruating, then they may be called as a potent. But my view is this decision is not very relevant. And it is not in consonance with the bare provision of section 12. Because the word which is used in the bare provision of section 12, the word is impotency. The word is not the potency. And here what has been defined by the court? The court has defined the word potency. why potency you are defining? Here the word is used in potency. So that's why. But in spite of that, we can quote the case because this is also one of the views which is being expressed by the Andhra Pradesh High Court. Now, a different view has been expressed by the Gujarat High Court in 1967 and contradict or overrule this finding. But both the decisions are of the High Court, one of Andhra Pradesh and another Gujarat. So we can very well say that both the decision will be in existence. Now another case I want to put before you, this is the case of the Madhya Pradesh High Court. The name of the case is Santi versus Bhaura. Santi versus Bhaura. This is again the case where the wife was suffering from sterility and amenorrhea. She was non-mensurated, but she was competent enough that sexual intercourse could be possible. But since she was not mensurated, she was not able to conceive the child. He was not able to conceive the child. But in this case, the proposition of law which is laid down by the court has pointed out here incapacity of conception. Incapacity of conception. Conception means वो गर्भवती नहीं हो सकती है. It does not make the parties as impotent. Impotency is different, and procreation of the child it is different one. So this is actually the cases which is being actually laid down. So menstruation is not very important if the wife is healthy, capable of having the sexual intercourse, then she cannot be categorized as a. This is another case. Another point I want to put before you. Eunuch. Eunuch means this is actually EUNUCH. Eunuch. Eunuch means a person who is of third gender. Third gender means neither he is male nor he is female. So eunuch is that. Suppose a person who marries with the eunuch, whether the marriage will be valid or not. Here the cases which I want to put before you. One case I want to put before you, that is Corbett versus Corbett. This is the English decision. And this is very interesting case. This is the case of 1970 All England report. 1970 All England report. Corbett versus Corbett. Actually, this is the case which is related with the sex change. By surgical operation, the sex was being changed. A person who was born as a male, he was also registered as a male. Later on, by way of the surgical operation, he changed himself from male to the female. His male organ was being replaced. His scrotum is being actually removed, and in place of the scrotum, one hole was being constructed, and later on he married with another person. Now the marriage was being challenged later on. The question was in this case whether the marriage was viable or not. Validity of the marriage actually here been challenged. And here it has been pointed out, this is very surprising, this is the English decision. And it is very surprising that this marriage has been categorized as a void marriage. This marriage has been categorized as a void marriage. Because the concept which is prevailing in English law, Matrimonial Causes Act, that the marriage could be possible only in the male and the female. Two male, two female, they cannot marry. And if they are marrying them, then this is the decision where the marriage has been declared as a void. Now, what is the Indian position? Here we have one case, but the case is not directly on the eunuch, and it has been not been challenged directly. Indirectly, it was being challenged. It is being actually technically called as the marriage was being challenged in collateral proceedings. Actually, directly, marriage was not challenged. Marriage was challenged collaterally in other proceedings. And the name of the case is Parma Swami versus Sumathamal. I am repeating again. The name of the case is Parma Swami versus Sumathamal. This is the decision of Madras High Court 1969. Here actually some property dispute arose. Some property dispute arose. How it was arose? When the husband became dead, now the brothers of the husband or relative of the husband, they challenged the marriage of the deceased brother. How they challenged? They pointed out that the marriage was not the valid marriage. Why? Because the wife of the deceased husband, deceased brother, was eunuch. She was not able to procreate the children. She was eunuch. On that ground, it was being actually challenged. This is not the main proceeding where marriage was being challenged. This is the proceeding which we may categorize as collateral proceeding. And in this collateral proceeding, the marriage was being challenged. Now, in this case, decision is very important because this is the decision which will give some glimpse to ourselves that what is the Indian position. Here, the Madras High Court pointed out that even though it considered that marriage was viable, wife was eunuch, but who can challenge? It can only be challenged by the either of the parties to the marriage and during the lifetime of the parties. Here actually the husband is being dead. Then who can challenge the marriage? According to section 12, the marriage can only be challenged by the husband. But now husband is no more. He has been dead. Therefore, here the marriage has been declared as a valid marriage and wife has been declared as legitimate successor of the husband. Now she is entitled to the same share which the husband was entitled from their brothers. So this is another case, and I think that this decision is very good and very correct one. Technically, the decision is given on the point that whether the marriage is valid or not. Technically, this is being actually followed. So I think that we can appreciate the judgment of the Madras High Court because actually Madras High Court is the case in the way that here if the marriage with the eunuch, one party is male, another is eunuch. And if that marriage has not been challenged by the party who is not important, then other person cannot challenge. And marriage shall be considered as valid, as good as the last. Now I am coming on your hot topic, gay marriage and the marriage with lesbian. So far as the gay marriage and lesbian marriage, it may be put under the category of viable. So long as parties are happy, they can live together. And outsider has no right to challenge the marriage. That one of the party or both the party, they are eunuch. They are having the same sex. So that's why, under the eye of Hindu law, and by help of this decision, we can very well say that so long as the parties are agreed and consented, gay marriages is also valid and lesbian marriages also. Because this is the desire of the party, they may live together. They may live together. They are not going to affect the society at large. This is their relationship. They want to confine their relationship up to their bedrooms. But on the other hand, so far as the Hindu law text is concerned, here Medha Tithi, particularly Medha Tithi, who wrote the commentary on the Manu Smriti, he has pointed out that so far as the marriage between the eunuchs, this marriage is the right marriage. So if two eunuchs are two neutral persons, they are marrying together. Where Medha Tithi is very old, he wrote the commentary on the Manu Smriti at the time of discussion of sources. Impotency, there is no question of in gay marriage, there is question of impotency. I am thinking in a different way. If the parties they are agreed, if the parties so long they agree, they can live together. So that's why Bhatiti, this is very old concept which was prevailing in Hindu law. And under this concept, it is very much pointed out that two units they can marry and they can live together. So this is very important decision which I am putting before you. Any question? Because this is a very important issue which I have discussed. Because there is always a question whether the gay marriage or lesbian marriage is possible under the Hindu law or not. If you go through the provision of section 5, what is written? Who Hindu they may marry. Who Hindu they can marry. But there is one clause. The clause is third clause, subsection 3 of the section 5, where the age is prescribed for male and female. So that's why that means that under Hindu Marriage Act, it is required that one party should be male and another party should be female.
Yes, sir. So this was the same thing which was said by Solicitor General of India in front of the Delhi High Court. And so he technically said this that there is currently no law, and our party also do not concur with such an aspect where gay marriages and lesbian marriages are allowed. And in fact, he said that though he hasn't got any instructions from the government, but that is the reason that gay marriages and lesbian marriages were not being registered.
The registration, that is very different aspect. What is the effect of registration in Hindu law? Hindu law, registration has no importance at all.
So until the government makes it mandatory.
Huh? And so far as the validity of the marriage, the last class of the section 8 go through that registration, if something is being registered, it is not going to affect validity of the marriage. If it is registered or not registered, it makes no difference.
How can so it means that if gay and lesbians marry, then that marriage will be void because of that particular clause of.
No, marriage is not void. That marriage is voidable.
Sir, Paras Diwan also mentioned that a marriage between two persons of same sex is void ab initio.
But Paras Diwan is not final authority. This may be his opinion. But whether he is able to corroborate his opinion by others, this is his opinion. It may be possible that he may be correct. But I am differing from that opinion because of the fact that in viable marriages, it has been written very clearly. So long as the parties are desirous, one party may marry with the another party who is impotent.
So won't that be read with subsection 3 of section 5 subsection 3? Won't that be read with? So say if that
Yes, suppose the third is being violated. Suppose I am taking your argument. Condition third is being violated. What is the impact of that?
voidable.
Voidable. So long as the parties are desirous, they can live together.
Yes,
It is as good as a normal marriage.
understanding that, sir.
So that's why here what is written by Faras Diwan, we cannot take the final authority.
Yes,
Okay?
yes, sir.
So now the time is come to disconnect. One more thing I have to discuss tomorrow, I will discuss. Some doctrines are being applied, but actually some doctrines are not required to be applied because Hindu Marriage Act is a complete code. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Please disconnect.